Matthew Bock, case study number 4, Mrs. Olston. Hi, my name's Matt. I'm a DNP student at UMass Amherst, and I'm going to be conducting your interview today. I know you were brought in by your neighbor, who's pretty concerned about you. Can you tell me what happened, how you ended up coming into the emergency room tonight?
Yeah, called my neighbor because I don't really have anybody else to call. I was just a little concerned about myself and how I've been feeling. And I just reached out to her. Just wanted to make sure that, I was okay.
What was going on at home before you came in, and what was so concerning to her that made her bring you here?
So I noticed, I think it all started probably about 3 years ago or so when my husband and I got a divorce. Just feel like, nothing. Just things have changed, and I think trying to kind of feel better about myself and cope with things, I started a new relationship that I should have known better. I should have known it wasn't gonna be good, but I decided that it would help me get over things, and that lasted about 2 years on and off, and it's been 4 weeks now. I haven't spoken to him. He won't return my calls. I don't know what happened to him. I mean, just kind of left feeling like nothing.
Before you came in tonight, what was going on at home? What were you doing? Were you drinking alcohol, or did you try to hurt yourself?
Yeah, so I have a couple glasses of wine at night to try to sleep. It's been a little hard to fall asleep at night. But other than that, I think the biggest thing that really scared my neighbor, who I consider my friend, was that I started to cut my arm.
Okay. So you cut your wrists?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever done that before? This was the first time?
Mm-hmm.
So you said this started to begin after you were divorced 3 years ago. Do you have children?
I do. I have 2 boys. They're 9 and 11.
Were they at home when this happened?
No, they're visiting their father for the summer.
Okay.
So I was home by myself.
Okay. So did I ask you, were you drinking alcohol before this happened?
Today I was, and yes, I usually have a couple glasses of wine at nighttime just to kind of relax and settle down a little bit, fall asleep.
Okay. So 3 years ago was the divorce, and you said you got into a relationship with another man about a year after you were divorced, and that ended
A couple weeks ago. I didn't even realize it ended. He just kind of stopped calling me out of the blue. I mean, I always knew that we wouldn't go anywhere, but at least I could say I had somebody. But he just completely stopped calling.
Why would you say that it wasn't going anywhere? Did he give you indications of that, or?
He was married.
Okay.
Certainly not something I was proud of, but he kind of reassured me at several points that he would leave his wife and that, we would be together, but it just didn't happen.
Okay. And how did it end? Was it just happened, or did he stop calling you, or?
Yeah, I think, 4 weeks ago, that was the last time I heard from him, and since then I haven't heard a thing, and I tried to call him. I can't get a hold of his number. I don't know if he changed it, so I have no way of contacting him now.
Okay, so we'll go back to right after the divorce. Were you having symptoms? Did you feel you were having emotional problems right after the divorce, or how did that come on?
Yeah, I feel like after the divorce, I felt definitely not good about myself. Just not positive, very much like I wasn't pretty, I wasn't good enough. So I think that's why I started to date and was hoping that I could find somebody that would make me feel better, I guess, make me me feel like I was worth it.
So when would you say that the last time is that you felt really good? You felt well, emotionally?
Probably, I would say, definitely before my divorce, so it's been at least 3 years.
Is there anything that you can find joy in, something that makes you happy? In the time that the past years that you haven't felt well, is there any particular thing that, does give you joy, or?
There was times in this relationship that I had with the new man in my life who I thought we were going to be together. There was points where things were going good and I felt somewhat better about life and my future and things like that, but clearly now, it's not that way, so.
Okay, how is your, the way that you've been feeling, how is it affecting your functioning? Do you work? Are you employed?
I do. I'm an executive secretary.
Okay. How is this, the way that you've been feeling, how is it affecting you at work, or how is it affecting your home life, your social life, as far as your mood?
So I go to work and, kind of do my thing, and I don't feel like it really impacts work too much. The weekends, they kind of go by fast. I'm up late at night and have a couple drinks and watch TV, fall asleep, and I do get up early to go to work because, I know I need to kind of continue making a living, and but on the weekends I just feel, tired and just kind of want to rest.
Do you have any social activities, any friends or family that you visit with?
Not really. I mean, my boys, I guess I went home with their dad, and I'm just, kind of here and not really sure, afraid to start anything new at this point.
Have you ever sought treatment for any psychiatric issues before?
No.
Never been counseling, or have you ever been on any medications for any psychiatric conditions?
No, never really felt like I needed anything, honestly. I felt like I could cope and get by.
No herbal supplements, anything that you got at the pharmacy or the store?
Nope.
To try to help you feel better? So you've just been kind of coasting along since the divorce, and it's just...
Kind of
But it seems to really have increased in intensity after the breakup with your boyfriend.
Yeah. If that's what I can even call it, because, we were on and off for 2 years, but I thought maybe at some point, I just kept thinking we would be able to be together and I could find happiness like I had when I was married, but.
Okay. What about, causing yourself, self-harm? Do you frequently think of hurting yourself? Has this been something that you realized tonight you have some wounds on your wrist? Luckily they're kind of superficial, so they should heal fully. Do you have any history of that? Do you often think of hurting yourself?
No. I didn't intend to hurt myself. I really didn't. I think I just want to feel loved. I want to feel something, and I think that was the only way I could just feel numb.
So you've never had any attempts, you've never tried to hurt yourself before, never tried to take your own life?
No. Never.
Okay, so we've talked about the, what about some other lifestyle implications? How has your appetite been?
That's one thing that I have been doing, I've been eating. I find that, having something to eat makes me feel a little bit better, although I don't feel good about myself. The actual, eating something makes me have something else to focus on a little bit.
Any body issues, body conscious? Do you, really obsess about body image, how you look, how you should look, how others see you?
No, I mean, I think it just goes along with the feelings that I feel of not feeling wanted and feeling loved and feeling pretty, but
So we said you haven't really felt any pleasure in a long time in doing activities. You kind of sounds like you're just kind of getting through, but it all came to a head. Um,
So I only have a couple drinks at night, and I just feel like it helps me to unwind and relax and take my mind off things. And the TV's on. I'm not really watching anything. I don't look forward to watching any programs in general. I just kind of watch it. But I've been staying up late, and I notice that during the weekend it's all I've been doing.
do you feel lonely?
I do, and I think just knowing that I was with somebody, whether or not we were together exclusively or would have a future, helped to kind of fill that need for me.
What about when you're alone? Do you ever feel like you see anything or you hear voices or anything that's not really there that other people can't see or hear?
No.
Nothing like that. Have you ever had any periods of time where you feel like you have boundless energy, where you can accomplish a lot, you can do a lot, where maybe you spent a lot of money?
No, I just feel like, it's the same thing on a day-to-day basis. I just try to kind of get through one day to the next. Go to work and do what I have to do, come home and.
What about worry? As far as your life, do you feel like you have excessive worries about anything?
No.
No, you don't feel like you have difficulty, like excessive worrying or trying to stop yourself from worrying?
No, I think I feel, okay, and content with things right now, and, not overly concerned about anything in general.
What about your sleep?
Um,
Do you find that it's difficult to fall asleep?
it is a little challenging to fall asleep, but I think that having that glass of wine or two really helps me to kind of make things go away in a way.
So do you feel that you drink the wine to help you fall asleep?
That, and to kind of just help to ease my mind on things. So yeah, so I think it does ultimately help me fall asleep, because otherwise I think I would just stay awake and not think, but just stay awake.
Okay. What about your energy level during the day, in a regular day? Do you find it's difficult to accomplish tasks?
I definitely don't think I'm as energetic. I haven't really had anybody say anything to me at work about them being concerned about me, so hopefully I think I can, do my job and do it well. I'm kind of independent in what I do, so I don't really have to, answer to many people per se, but I think I do everything I need to do.
So you haven't had any disciplinary problems at work? Somebody's telling you, you're not accomplishing what you need to?
No.
What about concentration when you're doing tasks or things that you really require you to concentrate, either in work or out of work? How does that go?
It's a little hard to do that, I think, because I kind of feel like I'm in a fog often, and sometimes I just find it harder to think about things. I don't think I think about things to the point that it makes me worried, but it does sometimes get hard to concentrate or focus on something.
Okay. I just want to revisit. I know you mentioned something about how you feel about yourself. How would you describe, viewing of yourself? I know you don't feel like there's excessive body image issues, even though you said you've gained some weight, and your appetite's higher, increased. How do you feel about yourself as a person?
I kind of just feel like a little different. I don't know. I think that it's harder for me to fit in, I guess, with the way everybody else is around me. And I don't know if that has a lot to do with insecurities, but it's just hard to kind of go on feeling like I'm accepted and like I'm loved. I don't have a really big network of friends and family. And my boys are, there, and I try not to put too much burden on them to make them feel like they have to take care of me as the mom. But other than that, I just some feelings of inacceptance in a way, I guess.
Back to you said that you drink the wine. How much alcohol would you say you drink before bed, before you fall asleep?
Maybe like 2 to 3 glasses of wine.
What about during the day? Do you drink any alcohol during the day?
No, I don't. Well, I'm at work. I typically, do my job.
Do you drink the alcohol as every night before bed?
Most nights. I think maybe on the occasion I'll have a few nights where I don't find the need to drink, or not the need, but I guess I feel like I can kind of just go to sleep without having it. But I would say at least 2 to 3 nights a week I have a couple glasses of it.
But during the day you're not having any problems, craving, you're not drinking at work, you're not going to your car, you're not stopping on the way home.
Mm.
So it seems to be focused around sleeping and kind of shutting your mind off at night.
Mm-hmm.
When you're not drinking in the daytime, do you notice any sweating, tremors, headaches, anything like that as a result of not drinking?
No, I mean, I've always had a couple occasional headaches here and there, but I don't think it has to do with not having a drink. I don't feel any physical signs of anything like that I have to have it.
Okay. So when you drink the wine, it's not like you're drinking it because it makes something physically go away, like it stops something.
No.
Okay. So this time, I just want to revisit quickly. So there were no past attempts of hurting yourself. No, you don't have a plan
Mm-mm.
to follow through. You don't wish to take your own life.
No.
This is something that just kind of was built up tonight. And you haven't received psychiatric treatment before. What about, do you find yourself having, how about taking care of the home?
Mm.
How's your management of the home as far as household tasks? I mean, we'll discuss, you filled out the questionnaire prior to my coming in here, and there were some high scores as far as areas of functioning or difficulty functioning. How do you feel as far as maintaining the home? I know you're there alone. Is it difficult?
I feel like I kind of, when I'm home at night and as I am, kind of winding down, and whether it's having my glass of wine or things, I get things done, in small increments. I wouldn't say that the house is spotless, but certainly, pretty well maintained. I don't feel like I have any issues with that.
So you don't have any, do you feel like there's things that you need to do in the home, you feel compulsions to do, to complete?
No.
Okay.
Not really.
I would like to say, what about any trauma in your life? Do you have any history of abuse? Was your marriage prior to the divorce, were you safe? Was there any abuse?
No, there was no abuse with my husband. I think it just, we grew apart over the years, and unfortunately that's just kind of, we ended up mutually deciding to get a divorce.
What about in your relationship with the other man? Any form of abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse?
No, I think for me it was very hard because I was under the impression that he would choose me and that I would, that I would be it, and I guess that wasn't the case, and so it's very tough to move forward.
Okay. What about medical history? Have you ever had any surgeries?
Other than, my children, which were no complications, I had an appendectomy at about, I think it was like 23. But other than that, nothing.
Do you take any medications?
I'm just on birth control.
Okay. And what about any over the counter? Any vitamin supplements, herbals?
Just multivitamins, but
Okay.
nothing else.
Are you allergic to any medications?
Not that I know of.
Okay. What about a family history? Is there any family history of anxiety, nervous breakdowns, depressive disorders, suicides, or suicide attempts?
No, not that I mean, as far as I know, my parents were very healthy. And, there was no major issues. A couple health concerns, that I mentioned to the primary care when I see them, but nothing as far as psychiatric wise that I would worry about.
Do you see your primary care physician or primary provider
I do.
regularly?
I try to see them once a year.
So this has been going on, well, since the divorce 3 years ago. It sort of began, have you let your provider know that you've been experiencing these emotional difficulties at all?
Yeah, I kind of told my provider, and essentially she just asked how I felt and how I viewed it, and I just felt like I would be okay. And the usual. They did notice the waking, but after a while, I just didn't really want to hear about having to lose weight because I just didn't feel like I really had control over that.
Do you have any chronic medical conditions? Have you had your thyroid checked, or do they check your lab work routinely at least once a year with a physical?
Yeah, they said my labs were okay, so.
Okay. So no physical problems. What about your childhood? Any problems? Any big problems? As far as your school life, your social life when you were a child? Any learning problems, disabilities?
No, my childhood, from what I can recall, I had a great childhood. I have great memories, and I don't remember any big issues when I was a kid.
Okay. Have you had any legal troubles? Have you been arrested, put in jail? How about DUIs, DWIs?
No, they tend to, I know that I probably shouldn't have as many glasses of wine as I do, but I usually stay home when I do drink. Stay in the house.
So your relationship ended about 4 weeks ago with this other man. Have you seen anybody else? Any other relationships?
No.
Have you attempted to, or?
No. I don't think I'm ready yet.
Okay. So we talked a little about your, some difficulty concentrating. I'm just going to ask you some questions, to kind of assess your memory. Can you tell me your name?
Pamela Olston.
And do you know what the day is today?
I believe it's Monday.
And then the date?
April 18th,
And what year?
2016.
Okay. I'm going to give you 3 words, and I'm going to ask you to repeat them in a few minutes. Ball, chair, and purple. Okay, so I'll ask you those in a few minutes to see. I would like to ask if you are able to count backwards from 100 by 7.
Boy, that's tough. 93. 80. My memory is very fogged. I mean, I feel like I know a lot, but sometimes when I try to think I over concentrate on things, and I sometimes think about it way too hard.
Okay. Can I ask you if you can spell the word world backwards?
T R G O R L D.
Do you remember those 3 words that I asked you to remember?
Chair, purple, and ball.
Correct. Let me think. We talked talked about your medical history. We talked about how you've been feeling, the alcohol. As I said, you did fill out the questionnaires before we began, and they showed some high scores in functioning, difficulty functioning, in getting along with people, getting your daily activities complete, participation in society. So kind of social things, daily functioning things. So they seem to point, they come back as high scores, so it means that you have symptoms there, which would point me in the direction of major depressive disorder. You've never been told that before by your provider. You've never been on any psychiatric medications. But it's been going on for a long time. It seems like it started after the divorce. So we're talking 3 years, and that came to a head, and now you've attempted to hurt yourself, but you don't desire to take your own life. Do you ever feel like the world would be better off if you were not in it?
No, I just want to feel more positive about things. I think it's just kind of my goal, and I think it was just a wake-up call for me, and that's why I called my neighbor to kind of just let her know that I was worried about myself.
So would you be open to, as far as when you leave the emergency room, you feel safe if you're home? Do you think maybe you could stay with your neighbor tonight if you leave, or
I could.
if your neighbor's open to that?
Yeah, I think I would be okay with that.
Would you be open to seeking outpatient help if we set you up with a therapist? And I think we're dealing with depression has gone on a long time. We're probably going to be thinking about starting an antidepressant medication. A provider can speak with you about that after. Would you be open to having taken medication if you needed to, and having some therapy visits?
I would. I think it's just hard to talk with somebody about things when, I know that there's stuff, but I guess I don't know what stuff is bothering me.
Okay.
That's a little bit hard.
But you think you're ready to start addressing some of these things? I mean, I think it came to kind of a critical point tonight, so, and it sounds like the alcohol is something that you turn to every night for sleep, so getting to sleep is a problem. You're having trouble functioning, you're having trouble concentrating, although you are getting through your day, you're kind of maintaining at work, but you're kind of isolated, your social life. I know your boys are gone for the summer, but it doesn't sound like you're having much of a social life. You're kind of keeping to yourself, so it's good that you reached out to your neighbor tonight, and didn't you didn't do anything more serious to hurt yourself. So we will definitely set you up with a outpatient therapist and a psychiatric provider, and I think that we're going to set that up pretty fast too. We'll facilitate that, and you'd be open to taking medication. Do you have any other concerns or questions that we didn't address?
I don't think so. I think I just want to get help. I want to feel better. I don't know, be whatever myself was a few years ago, and not be dependent on being with somebody to feel better.
Okay. All right. So we will. I will speak with the discharge people about tomorrow having the daytime case manager set up some appointments for you, and then they'll contact you, and we'll start talking about moving forward. But in the meantime, if you do feel unsafe, hopefully you can stay with your neighbor. I encourage you strongly to reach out to somebody. It doesn't end, don't let it get to the point that it got tonight. Ask for help if you're feeling unsafe. Certainly we're here if you need anybody. And we will get you, I'm confident that they, the providers can get you moving in the right direction. All right? Thank you.